Welcome, everybody. We here in part two of Open Discussion with the musical genius of Del G. So, we broke down a lot of things in part one. Oh, excuse me. Shout outs to DJ Mr. Ripp-U. I get so excited to get into the story sometimes, I forget a few people. But definitely let's talk more about a little bit of the detail of the production that you've been doing because in part one we had a full understanding and a breakdown of who you were and the things you were influenced by and creating music and the soundscape of that. Now I want to touch more into the first parts of the production you was working with and some of the sounds you've been crafting, stepping into the hip hop element of what you wanted the world to be introduced to you by.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do it. So I know y'all are on the tape, Urban Garden, right? You got a few joints each on that. So yeah, let's talk about it, man.
Yeah, let's get into this. Let's get into this Urban Garden, man. Classic mixtape, man.
So, I gotta correct both of y'all. That's an album available at all platforms, and be sure to check it out on iTunes, Spotify,
You're right.
Bandcamp, and everything in the description box for the work of all of the artists, including shout outs to MAKCHEESE, LEECH, King Venom, MOTTI, and all the
Kevin Venna.
contributions on the album. And don't forget also shout outs to our guy Mr. Artez who handled the mastering, if I'm correct, with Del G of the
Yeah,
album.
we had Drew Atz did the mastering.
Yes, sir. Shout
Curtis
out.
Franklin.
One
Curtis
more thing.
Franklin did the album artwork. So
One
yeah,
more thing. Don't forget LB Tread.
LBE TREAD, of
LB
course.
Tread. Shout out to
Can't
LB
forget.
Tread, our partners. No, sorry, definitely can't forget him. But I want to go now into a little bit more detail about that album project. Like tell me because we're gonna speak about everybody's participation, but we basically want to know like what made you put this album together and the artists that you worked with on the album. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. What made me put it together was basically I had so much music from the different artists I was working with in my studio in my apartment up in Harlem. Really, a pretty humble studio, right? I mean, we were just recording in my bedroom basically, but we would sit together there for hours and hours making songs, make a beat, then make a song. And it was pretty amazing time just to have everybody like coming through. You could record in my room and then we could chill in the living room and talk about it and listen to it. For example, I remember the day we made the track Robbery Universal there. The album was almost done at that point. I had a lot of songs with Chaz, with MAKCHEESE, I had songs with y'all, and we were doing a photo shoot that day on my roof where we had one of my paintings up there too, and we were doing a photo shoot for the album. And who was there? And Chaz was there, y'all were there, and Tread was there, and MOTTI was there, and AC was there. But we were all hanging in my apartment, and we just put together that song, man. I remember I made that beat, and then you came in, Lotus, to the apartment. And you were like, "That beat is exactly the temperature that I was
Oh
hearing."
man, right there.
Because there was
Yeah.
some harsh shit happening on the bus or whatever. It was a
No, I
hot
feel like
day.
I feel like basically when I came in, I gave Mr. Ripp-U a holler like I'm on my way. I got there to the crib. Everybody had like a little bit of where they wanted to go with the project. I felt like the hook wasn't laid out. Everybody was playing with the idea. Song was written out. LBE was written out. MAKCHEESE was playing with the hook. I walked in and turned the energy up. This is what we need to do. Y'all bugging. Let's get this shit popping. Turn the energy right up. MAKCHEESE went and dropped the hook, and he went to sleep. It didn't matter if he went to sleep. We
Well, I
got what we
remember
needed.
the way I
Shout out
remember
to
it.
vodka, but don't abuse the alcohol because when you're doing work, you can't sleep. I'm a consistent worker. When I go in the lab, I know what I want to do, and it's basically like having an outline of things, just like how you hear things in a musical spectrum. I have an outline of how I want things. Like from A to Z. So when I hear the temperature of what I want to set, sometimes my idea was already preset, but I basically have a roll of the film footage I want to put that image into with every song, because if it's not me, I'm not choosing it. Like, the first thing about the artistry is understanding how to pick your temperature. And I feel like on that project, everybody was able to pick their temperature
Right.
from the musical genius of the productions that you was doing. And everybody shined within their ability. But it was a collective that you put together to outline, highlight Leech, MAKCHEESE, LOTUS, Living
Yeah.
Off the Usual, DJ Mr.Ripp-U, and I feel like all of the elements was like an introduction. You got songs like Connectthebars, the freaking guitar is crazy. Wait till they see the video. Of course, that's out. Make sure you check that out in the description box. Kick Down Doors with LBE TREAD, another fire track. You can also find that on Connectthebars, and you can find that on anything coming out. Just press record. Ask DJ Mr.Ripp-U. You know what we do. So, it's like when it
Yeah.
came to putting together things like that, I felt like the collective I have to give more props to, because everybody had a lyrical ability of what they wanted to accomplish, and finding somebody that understands your language. Like, how it's like when you meet and somebody, you got a love language and you got a music language, and not everybody understands your music language when it comes to creating. So you need somebody that understands how to, it's like GE, we bring good things to life. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's kind of why I called the album Urban Garden. So that was basically I had a lot of these songs. I basically wanted to put together an album that was kind of linked by my production, but it had everybody with their own perspectives to have the songs each. So I called it Urban Garden because it's like everybody's sort of unique take on life in the city, on their own experiences with it, and then to basically a garden because like we could all get together in this space and like share the different stories. I almost imagine it like a big cipher, kind of like if we start out with Harder Than Hard, which is
I
about
feel
you
like
talking
that's
about some
that.
of the
I feel
challenges
like that's
of the
that
grind.
'90s era. Like
Yeah,
Harder Than Hard to me is like that '90s era, telling you what the South Bronx is like in the
right.
city for me. So that's
Yeah.
like a story set in line for me to give you a
Yeah,
more introduction of how I feel in the city. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we had
It's something to
that
work out to. You could stretch, you could get
right.
brolic to that shit, but the most point you hear is the lyrical ability. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we got that song, and then we got a song like Catch That or Bars for Days, where
Yes,
DJ
sir.
Mr.Ripp-U, you're talking about all the records and things, all the references of the older music, Lou Rawls and Stevie Wonder and things that influence you. And then we had a song like Fade to Blue, where Leech is
Yo,
talking about like his story with one of his relationships and also like a friend that committed suicide. So some heavy stuff for sure, but as everybody could bring their different stories to the table. And I felt like Robbery Universal was like a great like kind of posse cut to have all y'all on there. Also with Chad's with MAKCHEESE, like some of those verses on the album are verses that he had sort of written in his head for years and years and years that he was able to like get out onto these songs. So I'm really fortunate that like all y'all trusted me with the project to like put the music out and to record y'all. Like that really means the world to me. And
No.
there's a lot more stuff to come.
No. Can I say something?
you go ahead, brother.
Look. I just want to say it is my honor because I think because if you haven't seen the first, second, third episode, you know where we're going with this. I think the thing about me as being a artist, I mean, me as an artist, there's different senses of creative as artists. And it's not necessarily meaning that you have to be a musician. You can be an artist like a painter artist. As a creator, you like to create. So I just think about my past as a producer, as my own producer,
Mm-hmm.
as a group producer, beat producer, MC. It felt creating this album with you. It was just one of those moments where I could say, You get what I'm saying? Because I think when as an artist, especially when you're doing and you manipulate and you have so many things going on as a creator, MC, producer, you just gave me that feeling that, well, Rip, you can relax. You gave me a kind of sense of saying, well, as an MC, you're nice as a DJ, you're nice as a producer, but as an MC, you're nice. You don't need to hold on to something else. You can actually work with somebody else and let them do the production, and you can unloosen your fat. Excuse me, you can unloosen your belt.
Right.
So I say to you, I thank you, because I think it's a 50-50. I thank you for entrusting in me. And I think with that shows some type of growth. And my question for you: what can you say that you've learned from me and this whole aspect of the whole album?
Oh man, I would say one thing I learned a lot from you, but one thing I really learned a lot from was the way that you would pick out like sound bites and little bits and sound and like lyric clips from other songs and bring them into the records. I think that Catch That or Bars for Days is like a really good example of that, where you would like you bring in this line from this Stevie Wonder song, like bring in this line from this Lou Rawls song, and you put those in. Or like on Rumors, for example, which is on the upcoming album, you pick out that one little scratch. You are the hip hop gangster. Put that into the joint. You have such a great like memory of all the history of hip hop and the history of soul music and just music in general to like bring that in. Some of the tracks we have together, they got like, there's like 40 tracks or something in there. There's the beat, the vocals, and then all the little sound bites that you want to add. Lotus
Yeah.
go with this too. Add the door
Wait. So
straddling.
wait. Hold on. Let's talk
Yeah,
about that.
yeah.
So when we're talking about DJ Mr.Ripp-U and Del G, how many songs are we talking about, and what started that off? Give us a little history run real quick, my brothers.
Yeah, man. I met DJ Mr.Ripp-U. He came to my door to sell me the internet, and we just got
Get
to talking.
connected. Connect your buck.
Yeah.
I told niggas, man, it's a everyday life. That's crazy.
And we
That's
just got
crazy.
to talking, man. He said he was a DJ. I was like, I'm a producer, but I'm still learning. I was like, man, I'd love it if you would teach me some stuff about scratching. You did teach me a lot about scratching. You taught me about the fade in, about how to like catch the right line when you're scratching it, like how to remember the spot on the record where the line that you want is.
Thank
So
you.
you taught me about all that, and and we just got to making songs, man. I think the first song we made was "Pride of You," which is still one of my favorites.
Yeah, definitely. And
Um,
I want to share. I want to share my
I
intake,
rem-
not to cut you. Um, the thing is, when I think about you, you talking about what in terms of what you did for what I did for you, but I think about in terms of what you did for me. Just a breath of fresh air. Just the insight of a young person's ear interpreting the world. So when you was about to get to for days, I think bars for days. I love the track, and I think it fit so gel with us. And although it was the first track we ever did together, I think it kind of like set the tone and not exceed or over exceed of the expectations of the production and the music that we would and the collection that we would actually create later on. So I look at that, but you can continue on with bars for days. Go ahead, go ahead. I just wanted to share that with you.
yeah, man. Yeah, totally. I remember with that record, I don't know. I feel like that sample and that loop and stuff was just like the perfect tone for your tone of voice and like kind of the humor and things that and your flow that was in those lyrics, Like I feel like that's one record we did where it just really came together. Another one was on Would You Doubt Me? I think you picked out, I think that was a Donald Byrd record, that sample that you brought to my house. Like you brought me a ton of records to sample, and I think that was one you brought me that we made that song out of. That's another one of my favorites. That's another one on Urban Garden. Like I had another on Stand Clear too. Like it was your idea for the chorus to like have that KRS-One sample. You can't stand where I stand, you can't walk where I walk. Again, like that's you knowing the history of music so well and like being able to pick out those sound bites that really like that's something I wouldn't have thought of. Like it was just my song, I'd be like, okay, have Rip's verse, have Kevin Venom's verse, have Leech verse. But you really had the insight to like bring the whole song together. So, and that's because you're a DJ, and so you know exactly those kind of things. It's like, you know, it really reminded me of like DJ Premier or something, who's like able to pick the right.
You didn't say,
you know, it's
no, you didn't say DJ Premier. I'm about to faint. Like, oh,
but like he knows like the right line to like tie the whole song together. Like he could pick something that's gonna bring the whole song together, and that's what you did on that track. So.
And I like to thank and say I appreciate my history with 4050 Get Loose and Get Loose, and the record collection, because it gels together well. It gels together well. So you know what I mean. You have any questions, Lo? He's just enjoying.
Well, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about my experience. Well, I felt like from the first time, if I recall, that was Connectthebars one. That's you can check. Make sure you check it out in the description with LBE TREAD. And the first time we met, I heard the ear of the talent, but when I sat down and worked with you and we started crafting, and I was able to learn about you and your element of music, the things that you see, like we have a lot of different views on things. That's the same element because my love of music comes from jazz, things like that. My grandfather used to play 45 tracks to Miles Davis and stuff like that. So for me, I always was a soulful person. So working with somebody that understands that soul, for one. For two, being able to understand my voice. I'm a high energy person. So you already knew how to capture my voice. That's one. That's a check. Because then I don't have to worry about you being able to capture me right. Then being able to share vision. All right, you know what? We got to put the ambulance there. We got to put this there on the track. And then you're like, yeah, I see it, Lo. So when we're sitting there and we're putting and we're crafting like on things from Connectthebars, I remember when you sent me, it was like 10 o'clock at night. You sent me like a folder of beats, and I heard Connectthebars. Out of every one of those beats was fire, but Connectthebars stood out for that moment of energy I'm in. I'm like, that's it. I called you up. I'm like, right into it now. I called you up by 11 o'clock. By 12 o'clock, that shit was real. When I come down, I'm going to body that shit. And I already knew. I already I pre knew that because it was like I already knew what I wanted to accomplish. Then when we got to Harder Than Harder and you played that, I'm like, yeah, but it's missing something. Let's put the joint that tells them about the South Bronx. Let's put so me just knowing how boom, just a little sauce because it's not just for me. Like I like to be in every element of releasing something, the writing process, because I'm gonna sit there with you because we gotta sell this to the world. So of course, it's not just the excitement of the track, but being able to compose and show that creativity is a free art. So I felt like working with you, I understood a lot of the compositions and stuff that you was inspired by. I love the people I met through you. Of course, shout outs to Moby Barry. Shout outs to MAKCHEESE, the LBE TREAD. Shout outs to King Venom. Everybody that we had the pleasure of getting on. The first thing was the compilation of the album, and then also being like a spin-off for everybody's joints because we each had a relationship of music that was continuing. So that's like we just gave you the Star Trek Enterprise and Captain Kirk's about to beam you up before we beam you out. You know what I'm saying? So So that for me was like, it was important because it was I'm a fan of music first. I'm already a writer, so my penmanship was there since writing's on the wall. I'm not worried about that, but I have to be able to understand how to work with somebody that knows how to bring that vision to life. So I could say I appreciate the time, the creativity, the patience, because we had a lot of things to challenges that was going on, as you may say, from life, from everybody, especially the first person we have to always give thanks to is Mr. Ripp-U, because he was the first introduction,
Yeah.
just everything in the making. So I definitely got to shout out Mr. Ripp-U for that, because he preceded how everybody was going to be able to get the structure. LBE TREAD, our brother, you know what I'm saying? Kick Down Doors, an amazing track that you can see on Earth. It's
Yeah.
also on
Solid
the album.
Dave.
Rumors and Amaze. That's like the first track that solidified. This shit is coming
The
out.
unity.
Yeah.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
So I
unity.
have to shout out because it's like, that first day, I already pre-seen this is going to be amazing when it comes together. And Rick was like, right, like, Lo, you want, I said, do I want to drop on it? I got like 4 bars in my head already. You kidding me?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's
So it was
another
like,
track where I feel like everything just came together really, like all y'all personalities. Even as it first starts, like Rip with the humor, like, can you spare some change? Like, you came out,
it's
you set
crazy.
the tone with
Crazy.
it, like,
Thank you.
and then
Thank
and
you.
then and Shred is just like such a, he got
A
such a
monster.
powerful voice, like he's like a real spitter, like,
Yeah, yeah.
like, so.
And,
I'm
and
really lucky. I'm really lucky. Like y'all got so much history in this music too. Like with the Get Loose crew. That like I'm just like, so honored that y'all would work with me. So
no, no, look, I say this has always been my thought. They say, "Am I my brother's keeper?" Yes, I am my brother's keeper because I think my brothers bring out the best quality in me. I mean, and like at the end of the day,
definitely.
you don't want to tell your brother, that he ain't got snot hanging out his nose. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? So I mean, like that unity keeps us always just like growing, and which I love. One thing I admire is not. I'm more admired by you guys what your potential could be. Because there's been times where I done said to myself, and I keep, no matter what I do, bro, I have to write like every day. If I don't write a day, my world is upside down. I got the first thing in the morning, I got to jot something down. So that's just been like the dialogue and the trail of my life. Um, so when I say, when I look at it as the blueprint, I'm more appreciative for you guys because people don't know the back end. And I say this because it's something that come to my mind all of a sudden, and it took me a couple of days. I think I discovered this like 4 days ago. And I
Mhm.
mean, it's like the most stupidest thing. But you guys think about this. It is so hard to make a buck when it comes to working, right?
Mhm.
But you can spin it like that.
Facts.
You understand what I'm saying? So I mean,
Yeah.
like, I think in when I when I reflect and think about the bridge and bridging the gap, it's more important to me for the collection. You guys make the collection and make the collective, because sometimes I may been in the mode in the zone in a different frame of mind, and Lil said, "Nah, rep, step it up, bro."
Am I not? I'm gonna
That,
tell
that
you the truth. Be as your brother, even when I feel something's missing, like we could be on the track, right? And this could be the smallest thing, but it's about a difference because when we go out there and we're pushing that energy, you don't want people to get bored and their attention span is fast, but you also want to keep us excitement. So certain times when you look at doing beats, you can hear a sample and it gets boring. It's got to be a break or something. So
yeah,
he may love the cut and I love the cut, but I'm like, yeah, but at that point it should be a break. You know why? And then we put the break in and we see the difference. But it's the whole
Yeah.
point of having a contribution and understanding. Because if you don't understand a part of that, then it's like, okay, you're creative, but you're not really in the spectrum. The spectrum is understanding the sound, the volume, the niches, the things that you gotta make exciting before you say, okay, it's done. Let's go out there and run it around and see how everybody likes it for what it is. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
yeah,
And
Yeah,
I feel
something that you said earlier, Lotus, that I like was, I sent you a folder and you said Connect the Bars was like the one that really resonated with you. That was something I really learned like when I started producing and started like presenting my beats to different artists. Was something that
Mhm.
always fascinated me, was like which ones resonate with which artists. Was usually not what I would expect, you know.
Did you think I was gonna Did you think I was gonna pick
I
Connect the
don't
Bar?
remember. I
That
don't
beat?
remember honestly. I don't remember what else was in that folder. But there's some
I
beats.
could
There's
tell
some
you
beats I
something
made
else.
years ago.
Hold on. I could tell
Yeah,
you something else I picked by you
yeah,
off the top was
yeah,
gang related.
yeah. That's another one. So that was a folder I had,
Off
and
the
I
top.
had that song with that sample. And to me, that beat wasn't even like that was just another
But
beat
did
in
you
the
see
back.
what I
But
did to it though?
right, because
See
that's
how
what's
you
interesting to
did it,
me. That's what's
did that
interesting.
track, I heard it completely on a whole nother spectrum. So I'm like, oh no, that's that shit right there. I'm
Yeah,
dropping that as soon as I get there. When I
that's what's
got there, how
fascinating.
long did I take to drop that track, Dylan?
Yeah, we
How
did
long
it in
did I
like
do?
as long
Very
as it takes
quickly.
to wrap it. It was like one take.
Because
Like
I already knew it was pre-planned. When I heard it and I already did the hook and I did everything, I said, wait till I source that up. But see, this is the part of understanding how, like, even when I came to you and I brought Nordica, right? Shout out to Ethan Alvarado. You know what I'm saying? I brought
yeah.
the shirt Nordica. I said, yeah, we missing something. You right. Let's do this. I said,
So I just
I'm
added
like,
some
that's
little
it.
keys on
That's
top of
it.
it.
Right,
Yeah,
right, right. But the whole point is understanding how to make everything different to introduce it. So what I feel like I learned from you isn't that it's just about the project of Connect the Bars. It's the networking and working with you and introducing the music to the world and the collective of what we're doing on each of our professional, personal, and experience standpoints and
definitely.
bringing it out. Not just you playing the band, the musical ability, which you learned in school, but just the overall as a person and just working with people because what we're having is dialogue. Welcome. This is why it's open discussion because we're having dialogue to introduce y'all. And we hope you tap in yet again to this description box so you get a chance to check out all of this music available on all open platforms and leave your reviews and show your love
yeah,
because we're giving you the story so you ain't got to ask.
yeah.
'Cause,
So I just want to say something. So Delgi mentioned the
Mhm.
first single on the album, just pushed record my album. So the second track would be because like I said, I'm. It's not about me. It's about you. You're the manifester. Do you know the track listing? What's the second track on the album?
I got it right here. Let me see. The second track is "I Do Believe."
Okay, tell me. Come on now,
I do believe.
tell me.
So, well, you tell me about that. I want to hear like what is about what was the inspiration behind that? Because you talk about some heavy shit on that song, and we have
Uh,
multiple versions of that song. So why don't you just tell me a little about that?
I'm sure you guys are aware. We deal with a lot of situations, especially nowadays, with gunplay is involved. And to me, it's always been my belief on guns. Um, we shouldn't even have guns. And the reason why I say we shouldn't have guns is because there's a diligent way that we can, live on the same earth, live in the same society. I think when you're talking about guns, it's like a tactic of guerrilla warfare. Um, so I wanted to speak on and touch on the subject because I felt it was important for us to touch on the subject of just gunplay. But it's the story behind that. And I didn't really want to get in detail because I don't want to get into no litigations or any other issues of some sort. But there was someone that was close to me, and basically in a nutshell, a situation happened at their residence along with another family member, and it didn't turn out the way it should have turned out. So someone ended up losing their life. It was not my it my choice and my deliberation and my thinking of it, because who knows what goes on behind closed doors. This is a person in your residence or coming to your residence. So I mean, you have every right to be alarmed and be aware. But I just always felt as though if it was different situations, different situation, and how we can change that outcome, we can change out and swap out the motive of a person just always being incarcerated. And I mean, incarceration doesn't necessarily mean in terms of freedom. It can be behind the mind. Let's be honest. So I mean, that situation turned ugly, so I decided to write about it and speak on it. And it's something that it wouldn't. It's not something that's detrimental to my life, but it's impacted by everybody else's life because this is something that happens all
So
the
what do
time.
you feel? So what do you feel is the message behind the song?
The message behind the song is just unity and just coming together and just like put down the guns. I mean, it's a different way to do things. I mean, like honestly, guns. Nobody lose. I mean, when you think about in terms of being in the square, I mean, gunplay is just a loser move. I hate. You know what I mean? And it's not like a threat of insecurity in terms of life, but I just think that's a loser outcome. That's the easy way out. We got to do better. We got to think better. So I decided I just wanted to make something and make a song that would impact the way that we look at the way not only the laws when in terms of gun players and situations that occur, just overall. I think it's not really necessary. I think that's when you talk about guns, it's military tactic, and we're human beings. It's a different way that we can interact. You know what I'm saying? We're not
So
animals. We're locked in cages.
basically bringing more people into open discussion and
Right.
conversation rather than holding weapons. I agree with that. Tell us about another cut on the album that you was impressed about and tell me a little bit about what created it. I see there's a house track on the album. That's little and DJ Mr. Ripp-U, you got roots from house. So tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about that track and Dylan.
Um, well, that track, I just basically, I heard like kind of like a hip hop loop, and I thought it was something that I could bring to light, and just like because I thought that nobody, I mean, I'm sure that on the low, it's a lot of people that took hip hop and flipped it to make it a house. Jungle Brothers, et cetera, et cetera. I just
Yeah.
want to take something unique and just flip it and just like tone it down to bring it, unrecognizable but yet fun, to get people just dancing. You know what I'm saying? I think, about this time, everybody's fascinated with house music. And it's not like the first house track I've done. But this is the most significant track. Because it's collaborated with this brilliant man down here, LG. So I mean, like the
I would just
qualities
say
of the song is
I would
yes,
just say about that track, like a lot of your influences and stuff in hip hop, it goes all the way back to the 80s and beyond, and it's like, I feel like in the 80s there was a little more of that mixture. You had stuff like Egyptian Lover and like Planet Rock and like you
yeah,
said, the Jungle Brothers that were like mixing hip hop and house. So I feel like that was our attempt to do that. And I like how it came out. That was a little different direction for me production wise too, because a lot of my beats are from that like 70 BPM to like 95 BPM kind
yeah,
of boom bap range. So that one's a
yeah.
little faster. But another thing that you do that I love is the harmonizing. Like on that one, do 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 do.
Yeah.
Do. That's what you're singing, and we overdubbed it, so it's like a whole choir of Mr.Ripp-U's. We did that too on another track. We did that on. We did that on. Yeah, we did that on. Would You Doubt Me?
Would You Doubt Me? Fuse.
Where you're actually singing
Oh,
along with the sample.
wait. Let's
That was
talk about that
amazing.
track.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that track too. What brought that track out, and what's different about that track that I noticed, which is also one of my favorites on Urban Garden album, available now on all platforms,
Yeah.
is that you was singing on the track, you was rapping on the track.
Yeah.
Like this guy, I'm like, he's in every
talking,
package. Like,
he's
talk to
talking,
me.
he's also
What?
adding the sound
Like that.
Yeah.
Like that track, to be serious, is like a common sense type of track.
Yeah.
You know, I was just inspired by the melody.
You were the melody.
Yeah, but you know the sound behind.
How did you make the melody? Let's go to that. Take me back to how did you make the melody first, and then we move on.
I could just hear the notes in the song, so I could just like hear the song like singing to me and chatting with me.
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I thought that it would, fit the suit. You know what I'm saying? But I think the way that Del G executed the whole, production. I mean, like, it's layers to that you guys don't even understand. I mean, it's layers in the background with the ad libs and the different phrases.
That's
from
one of my
hip-hop.
favorite produced tracks on the album.
I think, and back to what I've the past. I think if it wasn't for 4050 Get Loose, I would in the production that I learned. That's what me and CP used to do for Rockin' Something Fierce and edits of that sort. I think that's as pure hip hop as you can get.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
So I mean, like that. And my interpretation with that song, "Would You Doubt Me?" It was just me and my mindset thinking, every time, just like a basketball player, he's always going up for the hoop. He may not hit the hoop. So you got people that doubt you. That's that one night you're going to hit the hoop. You're going to hit the hoop. The next night you're going to hit the hoop. So, my thing was like, would you doubt me? Fuse, chill out. Because if you chill out and relax, you interpretate that each time that you practice and manifest it, all aspects come true. It doesn't happen overnight.
Mm-hmm.
And Dylan, how did you put all of the voices, and what gave you the knowledge to bring that track to life, or how did you hear it to bring it to life? Let's go into that, because you got your voice sounding like common sense and shit. That shit is fire. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. I don't want to give away all the samples and things. But
No. We're not here to give away all the story.
There was a part of that record, the record that I sampled on that, where it was just a break with those vocals that I really heard, and I was like, sometimes that's all you need. Like, you just hear the perfect part of a record, and like that's your song. So that's what happened with that. That's what happened with that one. And then I gotta really give credit to Rip. Like, he layered those vocals. I didn't really have to do a whole lot. All I had to do was just arrange it.
And what about that other track, Rumors? The first feature of yours truly, Living Off the Usual. Let's talk about that, man. Let's talk about that. That's
Rumors
just
was like
crazy.
an early beat I made. That's like an early beat I made. I heard those horns super hard. Like,
it's abstract. It's abstract and it's hard. It's hard.
But again, like, y'all really put together the concept, I can't remember.
No, I have to give all the credit to DJ Mr.Ripp-U and LBE TREAD, because those are the two people that originally started the track and brought me on the feature, which started the beginning of the process rolling. And not just that, but it was like the energy that I already seen that they put in the track made it really easy for me to put in my contributions, But
honestly, I have to
still working on that track. Tell me all about it.
I think honestly, and I want you to answer that question in a minute. I have to give all credit to Trad, because I think once everything was laid down, the cuts, the scratches, only thing that me and Del G had to do is come together, and I like I got some albums. This is what we're gonna use. Let's flip it. I
Mhm.
think once I was able to put that down, he was like, "Yo, came up with the hook." I said, "This
And
is
I
the
think
rumors right here." I said, "This is rumors. This is what it's
right.
called." You know what I mean? And I think I may have spoke to you, Lotus. May have spoke to you maybe like 20 minutes earlier, and I'm like, "You coming to the stew?" And you come to the stew. You
The
hear it.
match begun.
I'm like, "Listen, what do you think about this, bro?" And he's like, "Whoa, what you mean? What do you mean? What I think about this? Give me five.
I already
Hold
have four
on."
bars. Like when I heard it and I said there's a spot, I was like, what? He done dropping Jay-Z streets is way. You gotta hear the track, man.
Yeah,
He was
yeah,
giving
yeah.
me
Yes. I mean,
Yeah.
like, and that's why I was saying earlier, am I my brother's keeper? Um, with music, we need that. We need that conspirers. We need those that's gonna.
push that barrier, push that
I mean,
bar.
and I think I think that's, and I'm not knocking anybody's issue. I think that's what's really missing in the industry is that, I mean, and those who want to make, pop records. I'm into making music. It's nothing wrong with that's your choice. Um, I'm just not trying to manufacture anything. You know what I mean? When I think about earlier, when we talk about the Urban Garden, I think Urban Garden is just a fascinating album because I think of it as a Motown sound, and the whole label and what it brung to the table. And I think just like with Delgy, I think that's what he brings to the table.
I think
Um,
it's a not. I think it's a novel because it's a collaboration of pages of history from everybody's perspective of their lyrical ability that was outlined by Dylan.
yeah,
Right.
I
And
agree.
that's what I was trying to do. That's definitely what I was trying to do with it.
Like
And on
writings
the
on the wall. Like writings on the wall. You know how you could tell it by? You tell it because there's a distinction in the size, the lettering, the coloring. There's everything that forms the writings on the wall. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? That's what I feel. Everybody had their elements into that. And it was like a reintroduction of everybody to tell a story. So I feel blessed that I was able to not just put my contributions, but to work to everybody on this panel from DJ Mr.Ripp-U, Dylan, putting together Connectthebars to bring you an amazing masterpiece project, which I
yeah.
promise you it's going to be on fire. You're going to see some
On and
shows coming
popping.
up that summer. And I just wanted to let everybody know like this is just the beginning of a lot of things. We hope to have everybody else up here on open discussion and talk about a lot more things. We had a wonderful time with our brothers putting
Yeah,
these projects together. Shout outs to LBE TREAD. Shout outs to King Venom, Leech, MOTTI,
yeah,
everybody that was in Kevin Venom, of course,
yeah,
and Leech. And don't forget MAKCHEESE. Don't forget my
yeah,
boy
don't
absolutely,
forget,
man.
Yo,
team
yo.
get loose, man. Team get loose. Team
Bro,
living off the
yeah. And I
unusual.
would just say about Urban Garden
Wait,
too, like Urban Garden has like an intro and outro too that y'all were talking about earlier. The intro talks about like listening because I think that's a big aspect of it is like really getting into the world of each of the MCs, like and how they're a little different, but also like where they overlap and they can all come together on this album. And that the outro talks about is Ornette Coleman talking about how like people would have sort of like a vitriolic reaction to his playing sometimes. Like people would be upset by the things he was doing, but he was like, I was just picking on my horn and just expressing how I felt inside, So it's really that thing of like listening, being open to difference, and also like and having people just express how they feel were really the aspects of the album that's coming together, that I was trying to
Yeah,
bring out. So
yeah,
yeah, and it's and I'm like super proud of that project. Like yeah, everybody really like killed it, you know. And I can't wait for Connect the Bars and for Just Press Record to come out too. We've been sitting on that
And
music
just
for
to
a
let
long
you know,
time,
the
and
videos in the making. It be done soon. You're gonna see Connect the Bars, the official video coming
Connect
out.
the Bars video
Shout
and the
out to
rumors
DJ.
video.
Yes, and the rumors. Hold on, I gotta give shout
Oh,
outs
my
to
bad, my
everybody.
bad.
Shout
My
out to
apologies.
DJ Rex. Shout outs to Ethan Alvarado. Shout outs to LBE TREAD. Shout outs to everybody that put the joints. Of course, Ike the producer, the master and play. Shout outs to Jux Diamonds. Everybody that motherfucking put a contribution in to get this started. I promise you, this is going to be a wonderful masterpiece.
Legacy.
And connect the bars to just press record, and don't forget DJ Mr.Ripp-U. Don't sleep on this man, man. He's on the album too, man. And not just that, we gave you a few features that you get to hear on Urban Gardens album now, out now on all digital music platforms, so you could get a little piece of what's to play on the album. So make sure you check out them tracks, review the album, because we guarantee we're not just going to put in the work, but you're going to see us out here, these shows and everything. Be sure to check out the band. Shout outs to the whole band. ISO on tour now, doing more things than a lot of people even dreamed of doing, because not just for Del G's genius of going on tour, but everybody's contribution is a collective. So we like to thank everybody for coming down. We got a lot more open discussion. We'll see you in the next episode. Don't forget to subscribe, tab in. You're going to learn a lot. Living off the usual. Connect the bars. Just press record.
Or
Urban Gardens out now. And don't forget to check out .iso and come down to the shows, man. Living off the usual. Love you, New
Yeah.
York. You all right.
Peace. Thank you for having me.
one love, guys.